First one comes from Vincent Hott, and he says, "Hi, Mark. Last year, it seemed to me that Kenny Pickett took the majority of snaps in shotgun or pistol. Now with the bolstered offensive line, do you think Kenny will now be able to take more snaps under center to truly be able to set up play action? Thanks." Great question, Vincent. I think you kind of answered your own question in all seriousness, and I think this is why you bring over the two Philly boys and you beef up the offensive line, and Nate Herbig, along with Isaac Sumalo as well. This is why you draft Broderick Jones in the first round of the NFL draft. We'll see how long Dan Moore Jr. can hold off Broderick Jones at that left tackle position. And then if Dan Moore Jr. loses out on that competition on the left side, would he be able to slide over to the right side and push Chuks Okorafor over at the right tackle position? Is he able to switch sides? It's a big question I have between now and the start of the regular season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because look, you don't want to throw the rookie out there too fast, too soon, but there's a reason why you draft him in the first round. There's a reason you trade up to number 14 overall with the Patriots. And again, in that trade, you prevent the New York Jets from solidifying their left tackle position in that they brought over Aaron Rodgers. So there's an old slogan, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's exactly what the Steelers did in their deal for Broderick Jones, because the Patriots prevent their division rival from getting Broderick Jones with the 15th pick. Patriots move back at Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, a very talented defensive back, one of the best corners in this year's draft. So yeah, I think Kenny Pickett could go under center, and this is establishing the running game in Najee Harris. And so it's important to say, okay, we got to get the young quarterback in rhythm. The same could be true of a running back in the running game, whether it's Najee Harris, whether it's Jaylen Warren, and what way to develop continuity along the offensive line than to run the ball. And this was a Steelers offense in the back half of the 2022 season that played a lot better football. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that they had a more successful running game. Now, I know the schedule got a lot easier on the back half of the 2022 season compared to the front half, but it was the running game. And one thing I would say about the Steelers offensive line last season, they weren't a great unit. I think they needed some talent. I think that's why they made some moves this offseason, both in free agency and with the draft. But this was a group that played like all 17 games together. Not many teams could say that. So you develop a continuity, you develop a rhythm. You hope that with the 2023 season, that's your baseline. The end of the 2022 season serves as your baseline for 2023. You hope that serves as your baseline for this upcoming year, because this is an offense that's going to need to put up points. Yeah, you pay this defense a premium, but in 2023 and beyond, in the current modern NFL, gone are the days to say, hey, we'll win a game 13-7. We'll win a game 17-10. That's just not how the NFL is designed anymore. It's designed to encourage offense. So yeah, I want to see the Steelers team light up the scoreboard this season. I want to see Kenny Pickett make that next step this season. That's got to be where you start. That's got to be the expectation. And that's where you have to start. Because with Matt Canada, like, look, point blank period, I'm on the record saying I wanted him gone last season, but I think he kept his job because of the progression that Kenny Pickett had. And with Kenny Pickett's development, would you really want him having a brand new offensive coordinator this season? You know, we see young quarterbacks struggle all the time in the NFL because it's, he's going to have new coach. And then at some point, it's like, hey, you got to look back in the mirror. What about the continuity? The continuity to where he doesn't have to learn a new system this year. He doesn't have to learn new terminology, and he can go in with more confidence and, again, build on where they started from last season. And here's what I'm talking about with the Steelers offense, too. Alex Kozora over at Steelers Depot had a great stat about this. He tweeted this out. The last time the Steelers scored 30-plus points in a game and won, November 15th, 2020, a 36-10 win over the Bengals. That is the NFL's longest streak. Again, a team scoring 30 points and winning a football game. You hope that changes this upcoming season. point blank period, your offense has to get better. So Vincent, my long-winded answer to answer your question is yes, I could see Kenny Pickett under center more, especially considering one other factor as well, and that's the tight end position. That is a position of depth. That is a position of strength now for the Steelers. Pat Freiermuth, we know his talent. It's really his ability to stay healthy. Steelers re-signed Zach Gentry this year. Great. They decide, okay, Connor Hayward, we'll keep him. He can not only play tight end, but he's going to be your fullback, the role that Derek Watt has played for the past few seasons. Also adept at playing special teams, both Hayward and Watt. Remember, Derek Watt, still a free agent. And then, who's the other Georgia boy we got? We got George Pickens. We got Broderick Jones. What about Washington over at the tight end position? What about Washington? Darnell Washington, agent 0. I wish he was wearing number 0, not number 80. That's another tangent. Darnell Washington at the tight end position. So, Mark, why are you talking about the tight ends? They serve as a mismatch problem to where you can run 2-3 tight end sets. You can bring in multiple tight ends personnel, you can move them around, shift them around, and they serve as an extension of your offensive line. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on and watch Darnell Washington's college tape back at Georgia. Mismatch nightmare, because he can move defensive linemen. He's too fast for linebackers. He's too big for DBs. He can jump over DBs, over defenders. He can go around you. He can go through you. Size and speed that you just point blank period can't really coach. So when you get multiple tight ends on the field, regardless of what kind of personnel the defense lines up across from you, Steelers are going to be able to do things to where they have flexibility. And this is where Kenny Pickett has weapons. Matt Canada has weapons. Mike Tomlin used them effectively. Another thing, too, if you would have brought in a new offensive coordinator to replace Matt Canada, say Byron Leftwich, he was out there. Frank Reich was out there this offseason. There were other brilliant offensive minds. If they had one good season this year with the Steelers in Kenny Pickett's development in year 2, it's likely that that same coach would have gotten poached as a head coach for the 2024 season, because Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach. So that's something you got to think about with all of this too. But yeah, I could see Kenny Pickett under center a lot more. Utilize what your strengths are. It's a young offensive line, but you've got tight ends that can help in the run blocking game. And you want Najee Harris to have an effective season. It was kind of ambiguous a year ago, that foot injury he went into the season with. Didn't have a very good front half of the year. But if you go before the bye week compared to after the bye week, he was like a full yard per carry better on the second half of the season after the bye week compared to before the bye week. So you got to factor in all of these things. This is a very long-winded answer, but this was a great question, Vincent, because it hits on a lot of different things for what the Steelers did this offseason.